So, welcome back to the deep dive. It is Thursday, February 19th, 2026, and
And there is just so much happening today.
there really is. I mean, if you are tuning in right now, you might literally be staring at your phone. Yeah, scrolling through timelines and looking at box office numbers.
Seeing trailers drop out of nowhere.
Exactly. Just thinking, okay, there is a lot of noise here, a lot of static.
But there is always noise, right? I mean, that is the default setting of the entertainment industry. It is a machine built to make noise.
Yeah.
But I think our job, and frankly the reason we enjoy sitting down to do this every week, is to try and find the actual signal in all that noise.
That is exactly it. We are not here to read the news ticker to you. You have push notifications for that. You have X and Instagram and the endless doom scroll.
Yeah, you don't need us for the raw data.
Right. We are here to actually just take a breath
Yeah.
to figure out what these stories tell us about the industry we love.
It is a smart, laid-back conversation. Just two friends who really, really love cinema, dissecting the stories that matter. And honestly, looking at the slate today, I feel like we have a perfect mix.
We do.
We have the highbrow art stuff. We have the deeply emotional human stories. And we have the purely chaotic.
It is incredibly eclectic today. It's messy. It's very human. And I am feeling a lot of high energy because when I look at the research stack you brought in today,
I brought a lot today.
did. But it doesn't feel like a spreadsheet. It feels like a collection of short stories about people trying to make art in a very complicated world.
That is a beautiful way to put it. I am very ready to connect the dots today because when you look at these headlines individually,
Right.
like a director fighting a studio, a star dancing at a wedding, an AI debate, they seem random. But you put them all on the table and you start seeing the patterns.
You see the resilience?
Exactly. You see resilience, you see intent, you see this massive struggle for control.
So let's run through the menu for today because we have a massive amount to unpack for you guys. First up, we are talking about the power of intent. We have Anubhav Sinha and Taapsee Pannu back together for the new film Asi.
A huge release.
And they're saying some really fascinating things about why they keep finding each other as collaborators. Plus, Priyanka Chopra drops what I think is a bombshell reflection on her career after a decade in Hollywood.
That Priyanka interview really caught my attention. It completely challenges a lot of assumptions we have about what success looks like when you cross the ocean.
Absolutely. We are also looking at friction today, real industry friction. Directors fighting for their vision. We've got Vishal Bhardwaj clapping back at critics over O Romeo.
He did not hold back.
He really didn't. And a filmmaker named Navjot Gulati is calling out the big studios, specifically Matic Films, for essentially shelving small films.
That story is heartbreaking. But it's also necessary to talk about because it pulls the curtain back on the whole distribution model right now.
We will definitely get deep into the economics of that. And then we have the viral moments, the purely human stuff. Rajpal Yadav is out of jail, and the internet is having a total meltdown over a video of him dancing.
A very complex emotional moment there.
And, of course, the Govinda family feud continues to be the soap opera that just never ends.
It really is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And finally, we have to look at the watch list because tomorrow, February 20th, is a massive release day. We've got the Peaky Blinders movie, The Night Agent Season 3, and a huge slate of theatrical releases.
So the mission statement for today is clear. We aren't just looking at box office numbers. We are looking for the heartbeat.
Precisely. We are looking at the tension between commerce and art and the resilience of the artists. Because if 2026 has taught us anything so far,
It's that the industry is changing so rapidly.
exactly. Technology is shifting. We see massive studio consolidation. Audience tastes are completely different than they were even 3 years ago. But the fight to tell a good story remains exactly the same.
Let's dive right into segment one. The collaborators and the craftsmen. I want to start with Anubhav Sinha and Taapsee Pannu.
A truly powerful duo. They have quietly become one of those defining director-actor pairings of the decade.
They are releasing Asi tomorrow. This is their third major collaboration, after Malk and Tapad. Now, for our listeners who might just see movie posters and move on, why does this specific pairing matter so much? Because Malk and Tapad were not just movies.
No, they were cultural conversations. They were flashpoints. And that is key. See, in Bollywood, relationships are usually very transactional.
Right.
We call it campism. A director casts a star because the star guarantees a massive opening weekend number. Or a star picks a director because that director has a track record of delivering 100 crore hits. It's a calculation. It's just math.
It's totally math. It's like, I'll scratch your back, you boost my brand value. It is a business deal first and foremost.
Exactly. But Sinha gave a quote recently regarding Ussi where he said their partnership is rooted in, and I quote, shared intent rather than career calculation.
Shared intent. That is such a heavy phrase. It is. But let's break that down for a second. What does shared intent actually look like in a business that frankly runs on vanity?
I think it means ideological alignment. It's a symbiotic relationship where the director feels this actor understands the exact political and social statement I am trying to make.
Right.
And the actor feels this director gives me the safest but boldest platform to say what I personally want to say. It's a profound trust.
Trust that the other person isn't going to just bail when the controversy inevitably starts.
Exactly. It's almost like they are co-authors of the film rather than just an employer and an employee.
That's a great way to put it. Think about Pad, for instance. That was an incredibly risky film. A movie about a single slap ending a marriage in a deeply patriarchal society.
A huge risk.
That requires an actor who isn't worried about their heroine image or just being likable on screen. Taapsee has proven time and again she doesn't really care about the vanity of the role. She cares about the voice of the role.
And Sinha has really pivoted in the last decade, hasn't he? I mean, you look at his filmography. This is the guy who made Doocy. He made Raw One. Big commercial popcorn stuff.
Right? The mega-budget spectacles.
And now he's basically the face of this cinema of accountability in India. He has found his muse, and I use that word carefully, not in an objectifying way, but in the sense that Scorsese found De Niro.
You need an instrument to play your music.
Exactly. Taapsee is Anubhav Sinha's instrument. And Aussie seems to be continuing that streak of hard-hitting socio-political drama in a world where every single studio is chasing the next 500 crore action blockbuster.
The cinematic universes.
Right. Finding two people sticking to intent, even if it makes less money, is honestly just refreshing.
It really is. It creates a very specific niche brand for them. You know exactly what you're getting with a Sinha Pannu film. You're getting a debate. You're getting a dinner table conversation that might turn into an argument.
Definitely.
Speaking of careers and intent, though, let's pivot to someone whose intent has played out on a massive global scale. Priyanka Chopra.
The global icon herself.
She did an interview recently regarding her new film, The Bluff, which sounds awesome, by the way. It is this 19th century pirate thriller set in the Caribbean.
It looks incredible.
But what really stood out to me wasn't the movie talk. She took a moment to reflect on her last 10 years working in the West.
And what was her takeaway?
She said despite a decade, she feels she hasn't fully arrived yet.
That is just fascinating.
Isn't it? I mean, this is Priyanka Chopra. She's on billboards in Times Square. She's at the Met Gala every year. She's everywhere. So for her to sit down and say, I haven't arrived, is that just humility or is that a reality check?
I don't think it's false humility. I think it's a redefined ambition. If you look at the context of what she was saying, she's talking about legacy. She mentioned that her idea of legacy has fundamentally changed over the years.
Right.
It's no longer just about fame or visibility. She has that. I think for her, arriving means having the kind of structural power to greenlight projects, to control the narrative.
Like the Reese Witherspoon model.
Oh,
Or Nicole Kidman.
exactly. Having that producer clout where you aren't just waiting to be hired for the job. You actually are the job. You create the job.
She did talk a lot about loving the challenge of this new role, doing her own stunts in the bluff, the sword fighting, the physical toll it took on her body.
She is still hungry, and I think that's the key takeaway here. Usually after 20 years in the business, and remember, she started back in the early 2000s.
It's been a long time.
Usually people coast at this point. They take the easy roles. She is not coasting. She's still fighting for her spot at the head of the table, even if from the outside it looks like she already owns the whole room.
That hunger is what keeps a star relevant. It's the difference between just being a celebrity and being a working, evolving artist. Now let's throw a bit of a curveball into this discussion on human connection and artistic intent. Shekhar Kapoor.
The visionary. Always looking ahead.
He's been talking a lot about AI recently. AI-generated stars. AI-assisted scriptwriting. He's exploring these massive production efficiencies.
The future is definitely knocking. And Shekhar has always been the one to open the door first. You look back at Mr. India or even Elizabeth, he pushes boundaries.
But isn't there a massive contrast here? We literally just spent 10 minutes talking about Anubhav Sinha and Taapsee Pannu connecting on shared human emotion.
Yeah.
And then you have Kapoor talking about replacing, or at least heavily augmenting that, with algorithms.
It is the defining tension of our time in this industry. Shekhar Kapoor isn't afraid of technology, and I get that. But the core question is, can an AI replicate intent? Can an AI replicate that specific look of betrayal in Taapsee's eyes and ThoughtPad?
Right.
Kapoor seems to think it's a tool for efficiency, a way to tell bigger stories cheaper. But looking at the Sinha and Pannu dynamic, you realize that cinema is so often about the friction between two human beings.
The friction is the point.
I just don't know if you can prompt engineer that kind of messy human chemistry.
That is a great point. You cannot prompt engineer chemistry. It's like the difference between a synthesizer and a cello. They both make beautiful music, but one vibrates differently in the room.
Perfectly said. And I think audiences are fundamentally smart. We actually crave that human sweat, so to speak. We want the imperfections.
Well, let's move from the high-level philosophy down into the trenches. Segment 2 today is directors in the trenches.
The actual battleground of making movies.
The battle for the art. I want to talk about Vishal Bhardwaj. His new film, O Romeo, has been, well, let's just say highly polarizing.
To put it mildly, it has split the room completely down the middle.
But Bhardwaj came out this week and outright called it the most successful film of his life.
Wow. That is a very bold statement considering his filmography.
Especially because he said it despite what he calls poor critics. He is literally clapping back at the reviewer saying, essentially, you guys didn't get it, but I'm incredibly proud of it.
You know, I admire that so much. Vishal Bhardwaj has given us Makbul. He gave us Amkara, Hater. He has absolutely earned the right to define his own success metrics.
He has nothing left to prove.
And there is something so liberating about a creator at his level just saying, I made the thing I wanted to make. If it didn't land with you, that's your problem, not mine.
Right.
Usually directors get very defensive or they get apologetic when reviews are mixed. He is just doubling down.
But here's the mystery that has everyone on the internet scratching their heads right now. In the credits of A Romeo, he has a special thank you dedicated to Amir Khan.
The perfectionist himself.
And Bhardwaj won't say why. He just dropped the credit in there and left us all guessing.
Oh, I love the Bollywood credit mysteries. This is honestly my favorite genre of industry inside baseball.
What do you think happened? Did Amir ghost direct a scene? Did he give script notes? Did he just lend him a specific camera lens?
Knowing Amir Khan, he probably sat in the edit room for 4 days straight and gave incredibly detailed notes on the sound mixing for the second act.
That sounds exactly like him.
Or maybe he helped with some complex distribution advice. But the silence around it makes it so much more intriguing. It connects the industry in a nice way. It reminds us that behind all the public rivalries and box office clashes these guys talk, they show each other their work. There's a lot of private mentorship happening.
I love that idea, the quiet camaraderie. But unfortunately, not all industry stories are this collaborative. We have to talk about Navjot Gulati.
This is a tough one. This story actually hurt my heart a little bit when I read it.
Navjot Gulati, the filmmaker, has come out swinging against Matic Films. Now, Matic is a total powerhouse studio right now. They have been churning out massive hits. But Gulati is furious about his film, Pujamari John.
Right, because it's totally stuck.
It is entirely delayed. He says it's due to pricing disputes. But the quote that really stings is him saying, studios simply do not care about small films.
And that is the perennial struggle. It never seems to change.
The emotional hook here is just devastating. He said it was his late father's wish to see the film released. His father passed away in 2024. It's early 2026 now. The film is still sitting in limbo.
This highlights that David versus Goliath struggle that absolutely still exists. We talk so much about the golden age of content, right?
Right, with all the platforms.
We have Netflix, Prime, Hotstar, Z5. We naturally think, oh, everything gets released eventually now. There is infinite shelf space. But that is just not true.
It's an illusion.
It is. There is a massive bottleneck. The platforms have really tightened their purses in the last couple of years. They want big stars. They want big spectacles. A small film, even if it's brilliant, can get held hostage over valuation disputes. Gulati is basically exposing the machinery here.
He's saying my art is finished. It's ready for the world. But a spreadsheet is keeping it from the audience.
It's tragic because the audience loses out, too. We miss these intimate stories. And for a creator, a film is like a child. To see it sit on a shelf while you are simultaneously grieving a parent, the frustration must be just unimaginable. It's very brave of him to speak out.
It is a huge career risk.
Speaking out against a studio like Matic can burn a lot of bridges. You risk being labeled difficult.
That is very true. Sometimes speaking your truth in this industry comes with a heavy price tag. Just like Aishwarya Rai joking about Mani Ratnam was a bit of a risk back in the day, though obviously a much, much lighter one.
Ah, yes, the torture comment. That was brilliant.
I saw this old anecdote popping up again on my feed. Aishwarya Rai joking that Mani Ratnam tortured her with 5 a.m. shoot calls.
The heavy price of catching the magic hour.
She was basically saying, you people are torturing me, waking me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But then we look at Iruvar. We look at Guru or Ponniyin Selvan, and she just looks completely ethereal.
That is the subtle difference between abuse and rigor. Mani Ratnam is notoriously a taskmaster, but the result is undeniable on screen. It underscores that even the biggest stars, the Miss Worlds of the industry, are waking up at 3 in the morning.
Right, to get into hair and makeup for 2 hours.
Just so they can catch that specific ray of light at 5:15 a.m. It's not all glamour. It is sleep deprivation and serious hard work.
So true. The red carpets are just the victory lap. Okay, let's move over to segment 3. Controversy and censorship. The editorial balance.
Always a spicy segment. This is where politics and cinema inevitably collide.
We have 2 big stories here. First, the Kerala story 2.
The sequel to The Absolute Storm.
The director, Kamakya Narayan Singh, is currently in a major war of words with the Kerala Chief Minister, Pinarayi Vijayan.
What is the specific conflict playing out this time?
Well, the Chief Minister called the film a propaganda agenda. Straight up. The director immediately retorted saying every minute and every single scene communicates the absolute truth.
Look, we are not here to verify the script or debate the politics. We are film analysts.
Exactly. We are looking at the medium.
But what is so fascinating from our perspective is that cinema has essentially become the primary battleground for political narratives in India today.
It really has usurped the traditional channels.
It used to be newspaper editorials or rally speeches. Now, if you want to push a narrative or if you want to counter a narrative, you make a movie. You release a highly charged trailer. The trailer itself becomes a political event.
It dominates the news cycle for days.
Whether you view it as pure propaganda or the files of truth, the fact remains that filmmakers are now active political actors, and politicians have essentially become film critics.
Politicians are film critics. That is such a sharp observation. And on the other side of the political spectrum, or perhaps just the purely chaotic spectrum, we have Anurag Kashyap.
The eternal rebel of Indian cinema.
His new film, Kennedy, is finally hitting ZEFE for tomorrow, February 20th. This is that gritty crime thriller about a dead cop operating in the underworld. It sounds like classic vintage Kashyap.
Very noir, very dark and violent, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. But the censor board updates are, well, they aren't interesting. They had to tweet specific references to Donald Trump and Dawood Ibrahim.
Yeah.
And they had to mute a bunch of cuss words.
Of course they did.
I mean, come on. It is an Anurag Kashyap crime thriller about a dead underworld assassin. Muting the cuss words. Does that not completely dilute the impact of the genre?
It creates this bizarre cognitive dissonance for the viewer. You are watching a character brutally murder someone in an alleyway, but they can't drop an F-bomb while doing it. It totally breaks the immersion.
It feels like we are treating the adult audience like children.
We absolutely are. And Kashyap is such a veteran of this specific battle. From Black Friday sitting in the cans for years to the whole Uttar Punjab High Court drama, his entire career is basically a history of censor board fights.
It's a feature, not a bug.
It is almost part of his release ritual at this point. If Anurag Kashyap isn't publicly fighting the censors, is his movie even really coming out?
It's part of the marketing plan. Censor board hates it, so it must be good. But regarding the Trump and Dawood tweaks, it just shows that even in 2026, real-world references remain incredibly sensitive.
Highly sensitive.
You can't just name-drop global figures in a gritty, fictional context without the board getting extremely nervous about diplomatic relations or potential legal hassles.
It leads to what I call sanitized grit. And that is the major compromise streaming platforms are making right now. We all thought OTT would be this uncensored Wild West forever.
The golden era of streaming freedom.
That dream is long gone. The platforms are playing it very safe.
Very true. Okay, let's lighten the mood a bit, or at least humanize it. Segment 4 is the viral and the human. Let's check the social media pulse.
The heartbeat of the fans.
Rajpal Yadav. I have such a massive soft spot for this man.
I think we all do. He is a comedic legend.
He has been on such a roller coaster lately. He was in Tihar jail recently. He got interim bail in a 9 crore rupee case. That's very heavy stuff.
Very serious legal and financial trouble.
But then he gets out, and almost immediately a video goes viral of him dancing at his niece's Mendi ceremony in Uttar Pradesh, just full of joy. And he posted this deeply emotional thank you message to his fans.
This is the absolute duality of the sad clown, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is.
We see him on screen, and he makes us laugh. He gets slapped around by Akshay Kumar. He does all the brilliant physical comedy. But his real life has this intense layer of tragedy and struggle.
Real-world problems.
Seeing him dance at a family wedding immediately after stepping out of a jail cell, it is a redemption arc playing out in real time.
And what struck me is that the fans are actually supporting him.
Yeah.
The comments aren't people shouting, "You criminal." They are saying, "Stay strong, Rajpal Bhai. We love you."
Because he has built decades of genuine goodwill. People are able to separate the artist who brought them joy from the complex financial mess he is in. They see a human being just trying to find a moment of joy in a family setting despite absolute chaos.
It's so relatable.
We all have our struggles, maybe not 9-core jail time struggles, but we all have to occasionally show up at the family wedding and smile through the pain.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of family struggles being played out very publicly, the Govinda family saga.
Oh boy. Here we go.
It literally never ends. His nephew, Vinay Anand, made this explosive statement recently about Govinda's financial troubles. He said, "Ye log jisko garib bol rai," basically defending Govinda, but also forcefully keeping the whole drama in the news cycle.
You know what actually fascinates me here isn't the gossip itself. I really do not care about their bank accounts.
Same.
It is how legacy families in Bollywood live their entire disputes in the public square.
It's like a reality show, but they don't even have cameras following them.
Exactly. In the 90s, this would be a hushed whisper in a Stardust magazine. Now the nephew goes on a YouTube podcast or posts a reel, and boom, it is national news. It must be so exhausting for them. To have your uncle's financial status debated by millions of strangers just because a relative made an offhand comment.
It's the heavy cost of fame in the digital age. Nothing is private anymore, which actually brings us to someone who handles that exact digital age very differently.
Navya Navilananda.
The new guard.
The next generation.
She's been talking openly about dealing with online hate and how Gen Z is fundamentally misunderstood by the older generations.
This highlights the major shift. The Govinda generation fights via explosive public statements and press conferences. The Navya generation fights via therapy speak and highly curated podcasts about mental health boundaries.
That is so incredibly accurate. It's a totally different playbook.
She is acknowledging the hate, right? She's not ignoring it. But she's not fighting back with raw aggression either. She's analyzing it. She's saying, this does not define my piece.
Right.
It just shows how the star kids, or in her case, the star grandkids, are media trained so differently now. They are literate in digital culture in a way their parents never had to be.
They control the narrative by simply rising above the mudslinging. Very smart. Okay, let's talk business. Segment 5 is regional powerhouses and box office updates.
Show me the money. Let's see what is actually working.
Mardani 3. Rani Mukherjee.
The queen of the box office.
Day 20, and it has officially crossed 45 crores. It is firmly set to beat the lifetime collection of Mardani 2.
This makes me so incredibly happy. Rani Mukherjee is arguably the most reliable solo franchise star we have right now. You put her in that Shivaji Roy cop uniform, you give her a dark, gritty case, the audience shows up.
It proves definitively that mid-budget, story-driven action films led by women have a very solid, dependable market. It doesn't always need to be a 500 crore VFX spectacle. It just needs to be a tightly written, good movie.
Consistency. That is the magic word here. Rani simply delivers consistency every single time.
And on the smaller side of things, Tu Ya Main with Shania Kapoor and Adarsh Gaurav. It's having a very stable run at the theaters.
Which is a huge relief. Adarsh Gaurav is such a fantastic raw talent, and Shania is really finding her footing as an actor. Stable is actually fantastic news for a pure rom-com in this current theatrical climate.
It is so hard for rom-coms to survive right now. But let's look beyond Bollywood. Let's check the pan-India focus.
The real heavy hitters of the industry.
Yash.
Toxic.
The hype for this is just unreal.
The teaser is dropping tomorrow morning, February 20th. And the marketing tagline is a fairy tale for grown-ups.
Yash has been so smart. He has been remarkably quiet since KGF Chapter 2. He didn't rush into 5 different projects. He waited.
He built the anticipation.
And now Toxic feels like a massive cinematic event. The title alone suggests something darker, something much edgier than just a standard mass action film. If this teaser lands well tomorrow, the internet is literally going to break.
I cannot wait to see what world they built.
Yeah.
And we also have Raksasa in Canada, a very intense crime thriller dropping on Z5.
Yep.
And Usad Bhagat Singh in Telugu, starring Pawan Kalyan.
Oh man, Devi Sri Prasad's music is already setting the absolute tone for that one. When DSP and Paul and Kalyan come together, the energy is just infectious. It is pure mass hysteria in the best way possible. It really is. It just shows that while Bollywood is constantly fighting over platform pricing and censor board cuts, the regional industries are just confidently churning out massive crowd-pleasing content.
They know exactly who their audience is. That is the key difference. They aren't confused about their identity.
Okay, folks, get your pens out. Or, just open your notes app. It is time for segment 6. The Weekend Watch List.
The carefully curated guide for your weekend.
Tomorrow, February 20th, is a huge day. Let's break it down. If you're going out to the theater, what is the top pick?
For the serious cinema lover, it absolutely has to be Aussie. We talked about it earlier. Anubhav Sinha and Taapsee Pannu. If you want to be challenged intellectually, if you want a film that makes you think on the drive home, go see that.
But if you want pure romance,
yeah,
we have Duwan Se Her Mine from Bansali Productions.
Lush visual spectacle is completely guaranteed with that one.
And then there's Alpha.
Yeah.
Men Love Vengeance, which I just love saying.
The title alone tells you exactly what you were getting. Men. Vengeance. Lots of action and popcorn.
Now let's talk streaming, because this is where I am going to be living this weekend. Netflix dropped The Night Agent Season 3 today.
Peter Sutherland is finally back.
He is in Istanbul this time. Tracking a rogue treasury agent. It is fast. It is slick. It is honestly the perfect Friday night binge watch.
I love that show so much because it knows exactly what it is. It doesn't pretend to be high art. It's a thrilling page-turner in television form.
Exactly. And on Apple TV Plus, we have The Last Thing He Told Me, Season 2, dropping tomorrow, starring Jennifer Garner.
The first season was such a slow burn, but it was very gripping. I am really curious to see where they actually take the story now that the main mystery was sort of resolved.
But the big one.
Yeah.
The one that has me reaching for my flat cap right now. Peaky Blinders.
The Immortal Man.
The movie trailer is out. Cillian Murphy returning as Tommy Shelby.
But he is dealing with supernatural elements in post-war Birmingham. That is a massive twist they threw at us.
That is a huge structural swing for that franchise.
It really is. Peaky Blinders was always so grounded in gritty historical reality. Mud and blood and politics. Bringing in the supernatural, that is incredibly risky. But if anyone can pull it off without making it cheesy, it is Stephen Knight and Cillian Murphy.
I am seated. I am so ready. And finally, on Amazon Prime, we have To Marry Main Tara, starring Kartik Aaryan and Ananya Pandey.
The situationship movie?
That is exactly what it is. It was a rom-com entirely about modern dating confusion.
You know, Kartik Aaryan has completely cornered this specific market. The relatable, slightly confused, charming guy trying to navigate the chaos of modern love.
He does it so well.
And Ananya plays off that frantic energy very well. It is going to be a massive hit on streaming simply because it's a perfect comfort watch.
Speaking of comfort watches, my fun pick for the weekend is Boyfriend on Demand on Netflix. It's a Hindi film where a struggling actor is hired to pose as a woman's boyfriend for a family event.
A classic romantic trope.
The fake dating trope, I absolutely love it. It literally never fails to entertain me.
It is the narrative equivalent of a warm bowl of macaroni and cheese. It is just objectively good.
Exactly. What is your niche pick for the weekend?
I am going with Kennedy on ZE5. Despite the frustrating censor cuts we discussed, I really want to see Anurag Kashyap's full visual vision. Or if you want something totally different, there is a new documentary called Fukushima, A Nuclear Nightmare. It looks very heavy, but incredibly well made.
Wow. From fake boyfriends to nuclear nightmares. That really is the full range of the deep dive right there.
You cover all the bases.
So as we wrap up today's conversation, what is the one thing that stands out to you from all these stories?
You know, looking back at the whole board, it feels like a week of second acts. You have Priyanka Chopra chasing an entirely new legacy as a producer. You have Rajpal Yadav quite literally starting over after jail time. You have classic directors like Sinha and Bhardwaj furiously fighting for their vision against the system. It feels like everyone is fighting for their space right now.
I really love that takeaway. It's about resilience.
Pure resilience. And I actually have a provocative closing thought for you to mull over.
Oh, I am ready. Let's hear it.
We have Shekhar Kapoor confidently talking about AI-generated stars taking over. And on the other end, we have Kartik Aaryan and Ananya Pandey doing a whole movie about situationships, relationships that aren't quite defined or committed.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Are we basically seeing the final days of traditional Bollywood romance and filmmaking? If the actors become digital creations and the romance becomes this undefined casual situationship, what actually happens to the classic boy meets girl sings a song in the Swiss Alps format? Is that just dead now?
Whoa. Is the DDLJ era officially extinct? That was a wild thought.
It is something to think about while you stream The Night Agent this weekend.
That is equally terrifying and fascinating. Thank you so much for that Friday existential crisis.
You are very welcome.
From headlines to heartbeats, you've been listening to Bollywood Deep Dive by IndiaRevue.com. Catch you where the stories are.